Hello everybody, my name is Higginbotham. I'm the executive sous chef here at Becker Vineyards. Unfortunately, our executive chef, Michael Lockhart, could not be here today because him and his wife are celebrating their wedding anniversary. So just want to give a quick shout out to Michael and Jeanette. Happy anniversary. So what we're going to be doing today is our first online cooking demonstrations while y'all are all stuck inside in front of the computer and everything like that. But once the world goes back to normal, you can visit our website. We offer chef's table luncheons twice a month. We offer private events, and we also do our art of food and wine pairings, which is a presentation of 5 bites that are seasonal and that we pair with a particular wine from our vineyards here. So I guess let's get started. Our first dish that we're going to do is a classic French Vichyssoise. If you don't know what Vichyssoise is, it's a French chilled potato and leek soup. So this is basically all we're going to use right here. It's only a few ingredients, it's real simple. So the first thing that we're going to start with is a little bit of butter. So we'll get our heat on our pan. Don't want to go too hot because you don't want to brown the butter. So what I have is about a ½ pound of butter. If you're doing the sticks, it's roughly 2 sticks of butter. So we'll put butter into the pot. And we'll get that melted. While that is melting, I'm going to show you how to cut and clean your leeks. Leeks are basically they look like giant green onions. And that's kind of the flavor they have. It's kind of like a mild green onion flavor. So what you want to do, the whole thing when it's put together looks like this. So you want to cut the tops off. It's okay to leave a little bit of green. That'll be fine. So you want to take it like this. Take your knife and cut the little nubbin off. Discard that. And as the leek grows out of the ground, you want to rinse these really, really well. Because as they grow out of the ground, they'll take the sand and dirt and stuff, and it'll kind of get caught in the layers of the leek. So we'll split it in half. Now, a lot of people like to rinse them out like that. I think takes a little bit too much time. So we'll go down, cut them in little half moons. We're going to be using 2 leeks for this particular recipe. And I have a water bath here, so we're going to put them in the water. Alright, butter's getting nice and melted. And we'll kind of move them around in the water real good to kind of rinse off all that dirt and sand off of them. You can hear the butter bubbling. Once it reaches that point and you hear that bubbling, it's good. It's going to be okay if all the butter's not melted. It will melt. So we have our leeks in. We'll give them a quick stir. And I'm keeping this on a medium heat. All right, now that we have our leeks in our pot working with the butter, we want to salt or season each layer, but not over salt it, because once it's chilled, you're going to lose salt. So that's going to be where we really salt it, is at the end of the process. But you do want to season during each step. So we'll take a little bit of salt, a couple pinches. And let those leeks work for about a couple minutes, maybe 5 minutes max. So we'll stir that up. I've used here is 6 medium-sized russet potatoes. You can use red potatoes or gold potatoes or whatever potatoes you have. I recommend using a russet, a peeled russet, because it is the starchiest of the potatoes, and that's going to give you the best texture and the best flavor. So you want to peel, I have them diced into about 1-inch cubes. So we put those in with the leeks, and we're going to saute those with a little bit of salt. And then fold those into the butter with your leeks. All right, now we're going to let this saute for about 10 minutes and let that kind of, all those flavors come together and let everything kind of work. All right, now that we have our potatoes have been working, the leeks have been working with the butter seasoned for about 10 minutes now, it's been sauteed. Now is when you want to add the cream. So I'm going to take 2 quarts of cream. I would not recommend using milk or half and half. It just doesn't reduce the same way. It doesn't give you the same flavor or texture. Please use cream. So we'll do 2 quarts of cream. All right. Now we don't want to necessarily boil it, but we do want it to simmer. And you just want to cook the potatoes enough to where they're fork tender, like you're making mashed potatoes. Okay, so when I said you wanted to gently come up to a simmer and a boil, this is what we're talking about right here. This is what you're looking for. Just enough to bubble to where it's not going to explode out of your pot. All right. Now it's been about 35, maybe 40 minutes. Our potatoes are nice and fork tender. And I just want to remind everybody, while you're doing this and cooking this, don't walk away from it. Kind of keep an eye on it and make sure you're stirring occasionally, because the potatoes and the cream will tend to stick to the bottom and burn, so you don't, even at that low heat, so you still want to stir it occasionally. So now it's ready for blending and straining. All right, so we're gonna put our soup in our blender. Now, when making hot things, reminder, you don't wanna fill up your blender, because when hot things tend to blend, they tend to explode out the top. So you only wanna go about halfway up. Okay. So we'll take our blender, and we'll ladle our soup in here. Make sure you kind of get a good balance of potatoes and cream, because the potatoes are going to thicken up that cream pretty quick, and you kind of don't want to overload your blender with too much work. So we'll go right there onto the blender. Now I use a towel to put over the top. It allows some of the heat to kind of vent. Do not do this, okay? Please use a towel. It's not gonna explode out the top, but make sure you start at a very low speed and then work your way up. So we'll put towel over the top, put your hand over. We're gonna start at the low speed. Gradually blend it. This is only going to take a couple minutes. All right, now that we have it all blended, we're going to go through a medium sieve. Get yourself a small little ladle, because you're going to want to kind of push through that. It's going to be a little thick in there. So we're going to go in here. That looks beautiful. through the sieve, just like that. All right, now that we're all blended and strained and cooled, completely cold, I would recommend doing it overnight. And just another reminder, the soup will thicken a little more as it cools. So when you bring it out and you're ready to serve it, if you need to add a little bit of water, or I would recommend just a little bit more cream, you can do that. It's not gonna mess it up. But the salt content will decrease a little bit, so you might have to add a little bit more salt, but that's okay. That's what we want. We don't want to over salt, we want to under salt. So to present this, we'll take a ladle of the soup. Okay, let's not be stingy. And if you want to come a little closer, this is the consistency you're going for. Nice and rich and creamy. So classically or traditionally, you would just serve Vichyssoise with just like some chopped chives or chive sticks. What we do here at Becker Vineyards is we make our own chive oil, kind of put a little twist on it, and I like putting bacon on pretty much everything. So, and a little bacon really complements this really well. So we'll go with a little chive oil. And some bacon bits on top. And there you have it. That's our take on a classic Vichyssoise.